Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my progress of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. It's giving me an issue with stream quality. If anybody's having an issue with the video quality, let me know. If you guys would like to join the family, you can hit that subscribe button down below. You can also click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays at 4 p.m. Central Time where I go live, or outside of my live stream, you can consider joining the Discord. There is a link for that down in the description below. Also in the description below, there is a link to a Pinterest board. A lot of times we get asked what foods that we eat, and so we created a Pinterest board that has a lot of our family's favorite meals. Today is day 679 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. It is also day 12 of my reset that I started here. And so far, I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose over 200 pounds. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your guys' non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I'd love to hear those as well. How are you doing with your diets? Anything new that you want to talk about or bring up, or just overall, just any comments in general. And what are you doing to make staying on your diet easier than the alternative, which is something that is kind of part of the book I've been reading. But I hope everybody had a great weekend. A few people checking in are Tiny Acres, Pretty Girl's mom, Christy, and Carrie, all saying, hey, howdy. Meatless Monday, you bet. You guys, I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. We had a really good weekend, really busy weekend this weekend. So let's switch over here, get rid of all that stuff. Yeah, just overall had a lot going on this weekend, and glad that we were able to get it done, I suppose. So I'm just trying to go through and see if I have the food since last week. So a couple things I want to say about the food is I've been enjoying the food that I've been eating, but the big thing I've noticed is that I am eating a very large volume of food. I'm not eating very many items that are high calorie dense or processed. The one food item that I would consider or would say is processed that I have eaten is shredded wheat. But other than that, I got rid of the nut butters. I haven't been having a lot of sauces like the tahinis that we used to have. And overall, because I've gotten rid of some of those higher calorie dense foods in order to make up for those calories, I am having to eat more food. And it's been very satisfying to eat a large volume of food, and I'm glad that I'm kind of doing it again, because more so this most recent time, the kind of month prior to me doing the reset, I was eating a lot of high calorie foods that end up causing you to eat a lower volume just because of the calorie density. But like I said, it's very satisfying to eat a high volume food. Our Tiny Acre says that they went to Costco this weekend before there were fires in your area and you've been stuck inside since. Oh my, I hope you're doing okay and you're able to stay safe. Yeah, I would, that would be rough to have to be stuck inside, but I think that you're pretty self sufficient, I think, overall. The Oh, did I say Costco? I did say Costco. You went to the coast this weekend. Um, I don't know why I said Costco. All right, it's Monday. So you went to the coast this weekend before the fires your area. Okay. Um, all right. So I am going to go over the food from the weekend. There's lots of food from the weekend, lots of different things that happened. But just right after the stream, I got home. I did. Oh, you know what? I bet this is on the wrong network. This happens every now and then because I reset the internet right before the stream because I didn't feel like I was getting a very good connection. So just be patient. All right, that should be working now. Let me see. There you go. So that was a quick snack I had after the stream on Friday. I might go through these decently quick, but then for dinner Friday night, we did have a dinner that is a little, so this is a dinner that we used to have a lot when we first started the diet. I don't know if I have a better photo. There's a better photo of it there. This is chickpea tikka masala. We used to have this a lot when we first started the diet. It was very flavorful, and there is like coconut milk in it, which is not the best because it has saturated fat, I believe. Is that correct? Maybe somebody could, maybe Carrie will correct me why. But this was dinner Friday night. It was very enjoyable and nice to have it again, but it is not something that we've had a lot recently. But I always love it when we have it. So I did not mind having that for dinner on Friday evening. And then the next photo is Saturday, just some oatmeal. This is our standard oatmeal. Yeah, Carrie says it is saturated fat. We do not make that often anymore. But it was a regular, and when we first started the diet, it was pretty strict with the salt, oil, sugar. For me, the big things that I was having was the Ezekiel bread with the nut butter. But other than that, having that chickpea tikka masala was a great kind of flavor infusion into our diet. So that was a very common thing for us to have when we first started. Then this is oatmeal. Looks like it's going to be banana and apples. We kind of been going back and forth a lot. Our Tiny Acre says that you guys have been eating your homemade bowls most of the time lately. Rice with Mexican style tomatoes, black beans, cabbage, carrots, onions, guacamole, homemade salsa, and then yours has hot peppers in it. Okay. Yeah, that sounds delicious. Similar to some of the Spanish rice and beans, I guess is what we call it. We don't have the carrots in there or the cabbage. But yeah, it sounds good. Let's see. This was breakfast Saturday. This was lunch Saturday. I think this was probably leftovers from earlier in the week, but this is Mega Veggie Chili is what this is from Saturday. And that was like a lunch on Saturday. And then for dinner on Saturday, I took a bunch of photos here because Chef John busted out his vegetable chopping skills and his cooking skills. Saturday, I spent a good while making up. I just had this craving or this want for mixed vegetables. We kind of have, we do a tray like this with onions and zucchini and mushrooms, and then throw some seasoning on there. There's all kinds of different seasonings on that. And then throw a bunch of root vegetables into the Instapot. That's not the best photo, but I think they're both blurry. And cook those up. And then take the root vegetables, take the other vegetables, make a big bowl of it, and eat it. And so, like I said, I kind of got a craving for that on Saturday, and Carrie was out of the house. So I took over the oven in the Instapot and started cooking a bunch of food. So that was, let's see, I think this was after I cooked the vegetables. I ended up cooking the vegetables a couple times. Just the timing of everything was just way off, but I ended up getting it done. So I'm just gonna run through these here. This has actually had two different trays of vegetables going. I didn't have enough red peppers for both trays, but we did have red peppers in there as well. That is, so after I cooked the root vegetables in the Instapot, I kind of cut them up, put them on the tray, and then put them in the oven to crisp them up a little bit. Carrie says that she ran out of the Costco salt-free seasoning, and that is why we are having the the Costco no salt seasoning. And because we're out of that, that's why we've been having the sweet oatmeal more often. Then you need to get to Costco, not to be confused with the Coast. Pretty Girl's mom says, non-scale victory for you yesterday. You went to church picnic. You brought your own salad and a large bowl of papaya with blueberries to share. That sounds delicious. And you were not tempted at all, and you stayed compliant and SOS free. Congratulations. That's awesome. I'm glad you were able to get through that and be able to stay compliant. I've been very focused on staying compliant this past 2 weeks, and it's been really good for me overall, health wise and everything. Let me see. I took a bunch of photos because I was so proud of myself for all the cooking I did. So I took all kinds of photos here. I think that's actually with everything together, with the potatoes and everything in a bowl. That's everything mixed up and mashed together, and all kinds of crazy colors going every direction. So good though. The sweet potato, the carrot, all of it was really wonderful. And I just had a lot of fun cooking and making that meal. It's time consuming. Like, it took time to cook the vegetables in the Instapot and to cook the vegetables in the oven. But like I said, it was very satisfying. I ate lots of vegetables throughout that whole evening on Saturday. And I don't have any more photos after that until late. What is this? Yeah, so that was pretty much everything from Saturday. So then on Sunday, I had I didn't take photo of breakfast, I guess, on Sunday. I'm trying to think if we even had oatmeal Sunday morning. I feel like we must have. But yeah, this was my lunch yesterday, just potato and broccoli. It's become a very common lunch for me to have, and I really enjoy it. I do take the broccoli florets from the steamer bag, and I kind of cut them up a little bit. I think Carrie thinks I'm a crazy person, but I do like to cut them up so that they mix in a little bit better with the mashed potatoes. Our Tiny Acres, you say you plan on growing sweet potatoes next year. That's awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun to work on that. Carrie said we just had apple oatmeal on Sunday. Like we didn't even have banana in it. That's right. Yesterday's oatmeal was not even banana in it. Then dinner yesterday. This is kind of what was similar to the meal that our Tiny Acres talked about, without the carrot and the guacamole and the cabbage. But this is our Spanish rice and beans. I really enjoy this. I had two very large bowls of this for dinner yesterday, just because I didn't have a lot in between throughout the day yesterday. We were busy this weekend, running around doing things, and so which is nice because then we're not at home eating, and so that was dinner yesterday. Real quick meal that Carrie makes in the Instapot. It's real good. And then today's breakfast. This was not the best photo. It was not the best breakfast. We were running out of steel cut oats and oat groats. So Carrie substituted the bulgur wheat for the missing oats. And we've done that in the past. This time it just might have been a little bit too much bulgur wheat. It was fine. It was edible. It tasted good with the seasoning and the apples and the juice. But it was not the most exciting meal that we've had. And I thought for sure I took a photo, but I did also have more I just had potatoes today. I did not have potatoes with broccoli at work, but I did cook up 3 potatoes and had those. But for some reason, I don't see that photo, and I thought for sure I took a photo of it. So just some potatoes today. So that was kind of the food from the weekend. Like I said, it was a lot of food. I had a huge volume of food over the weekend, and extremely satisfying to have that volume of food. Everything was completely compliant. And I, even got to play around in the kitchen a little bit and make my own vegetables. I did burn myself though. I don't know if I'll be able to show it on camera very well, but one of the cooking trays, it got my forearm. I don't know if it'll show up, or I don't even know. I don't think I'll be able to show it. I can't. Maybe if you got a good video. But I did burn my arm a little bit. But it's healing up very quickly. And, chicks dig scars. So, anyways. The other stuff from the weekend, like I said, we were real busy. We were moving around a lot. Our kids had a lot of activities. Each of them had kind of their own different things, soccer and drama or theater and all kinds of things. So did end up being a lot of running around. And we went swimming. I totally forgot we went swimming, or I went swimming with the kids. None of the other adults had the courage to get in the water. They were all worried it was going to be too cold. But I was worried that it was going to be the last time I get to swim this year. So I wanted to go swimming. We were over at the neighbor's house. They have a nice in-ground pool, and the kids were swimming. And I took that as an opportunity to get a mini little workout in, I guess. It's not like a real workout where you're running, but just playing with the kids in the water and stuff is a bit of a workout on its own. I guess it did come across. Everybody's saying, ouch. Our Tiny Acre says you burn yourself way too much. I definitely burned myself way too much too. I'm surprised I have fingerprints at this point. I grabbed one of those pans that I burnt my arm with my hands. Not like grabbed it, but I touched it. Anyways, yeah, you could possibly put some aloe on it. I could probably put some aloe on there. It might help. But like I said, it seems to be healing fairly quickly, and it was not near as bad of a burn as I've given myself before. I actually have a burn across the you can't see actually this one here. There's a burn right here. This is that's a stove burn too. That's probably from our Breville, our air fryer, that I did that. Yes, I burned my hands trying to cook. It's a surprise I even have hands at this point. I guess I said that about my fingertips. So, yeah, so the kids were active. We were active with the kids. It was a good weekend. Definitely noticing the change in temperature. It is turning into fall here. The weather in the morning is a little bit colder. When the rain's coming in, it's just getting a little bit colder. And my wardrobe has not caught up with that yet. I yesterday was wearing shorts and a t-shirt and thought I probably should have had long sleeves or pants on while we were watching my daughter's soccer game. But totally forgot about that this morning when I got up and ran out the door, also wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and glad that I was working inside for the day today. It's not like ridiculous cold, but it's just a little bit chilly out, and the weather, like I said, is definitely turning, which means we're getting into a new season and things are changing and activities are changing. Food's changing a little bit too, I suppose. But it's been good. Our Tiny Acres says today is the first nice temperatures you've had there. You had high 90s and 100 until today, and then you were in the 70s today. That must feel like an incredible relief if you were at the 90s to 100s for a while there and now back into the 70s. Yeah, that's that would be rough. I'm happy with the temperature. I like the fall season. I like everything about it. The only thing that I worry about is that, becoming less active. It's not like I was super active anyways, but just because it's colder out, we're less apt to be outside or do outdoor things. So I may have to kind of see what things I can do to keep myself active and, just playing with the kids and stuff, or making sure that we're doing stuff. But I mean, and they're busy with school and all these different programs and stuff. And now we're really getting to a point where, it's really catching up with the number of kids we have and the amount of things that they have going on, that we're always staying busy. The other big stuff that's been going on is I have been listening to Atomic Habits by James Clear. Really like the book. I so far would recommend it. I have 3.5 hours left, which means I'm about 2 hours into the book. Chapter 8-ish is where I'm at, it looks like. And there's a lot of things that he spells out that he definitely doesn't even take credit for himself. It seems very like, oh yeah, that makes sense, like obvious, like some of these answers or some of these suggestions he gives seems obvious, but I really like the structure that he has things broken down in. He does take other people's programs and kind of expands on them or kind of modifies them slightly to be kind of more towards what he's thinking. Yeah, our Tiny Acre says you're more active in the 70s. You hibernate below or above the 70s. Absolutely. I think that's kind of what most people tend to do. But with the book here, there's the book is about everything. It's not just about diet. It's not about diet at all. I mean, he talks about diet, but it's, whatever you're trying to do, you're trying to become more productive. You're trying to become whatever, a better athlete, a better husband, a better father, anything that you're trying to become better at. You could take these principles that he spells out in this book, and you can improve yourself with those things. Some of the big things, or the big part of the book, is that kind of the 4 parts of any habit, and it's the cue, which is what kind of starts the process for the habit. And then there's the craving, which is what your kind of mind goes to, or what you decide you're going to do to solve the cue that you just had, the problem from the cue you just had. The response is the action of actually going and performing the craving, and then the reward is the completion of the task and the satisfaction of the cue. And with diet, I've talked about that kind of over the past few weeks before reading this book, is that we have those cues where our brain says, I'm hungry or I'm thirsty. And your brain's first response is to go to that craving, or to develop a craving, or give you something to crave. And your brain is going to put into your mind the thing that is going to give it the best response. So if you get thirsty, your brain isn't necessarily going to say, hey, go drink water. Your brain's going to say, hey, go drink a soda, because a soda is going to quench your thirst, but also give you the highest response of stimulus of any liquid that you could consume. You could have gone with Diet Coke, or you could have gone with lemonade, or you could have gone with tea, but your brain goes to soda because it gives the highest response. And so you have to work on changing your cravings from that cue, and then how you actually respond to those cravings as well. It all feeds each other, and it feeds the system, and it works both ways. So with diet, what I've talked about, and I've tried to kind of explain to my kids that they just don't understand, and then what took me some time to understand too, is that you have a cue that you're hungry and you crave the sweets, or you crave the salty or the oily things. And when you satisfy those cravings with those items, you get the desired response that you're expecting. And that's why you eat those foods and you crave them in the first place. But if you can switch the foods that you crave, or that you start to eat, so you have the cue and then you switch the foods that you're eating, then you still get a response and a reward. It's just not the same response and reward that you would have gotten had you satisfied the craving with a different food. But your body then sends a feedback, though, that they get that food and they see how nutritious it is. And it does send a feedback that says, hey, that's good food still. So the next time you're presented with that food, you get a different reward, but it's still satisfying, if that makes sense. And so over time, you start to change your taste buds and your tastes. And like I said, with my kids, what I try to convince them of is there's foods that I used to not like cucumber is a food that I would not eat. I would not choose to eat it. I love pickles, but don't put cucumber on anything that it just didn't like it. Um, and it took me forcing myself to eat cucumber a few times for my taste to change. And it's because my body had to receive that cucumber and break it down and find the nutritional benefits to it. And then afterwards it says, hey, if you taste that again, let's have more of it. And so there's a lag behind it takes time for your taste buds in your body to develop a liking for some of those things. But anyways, I kind of rambled there on. But the book, he breaks it down very good. The name of the book is Atomic Habits, and that's because he talks about atoms, or the atomic level is the smallest level, and he's breaking down habits to the smallest point, or to like the minutia of everything, I guess. He talks about habit stacking. That's kind of what he's talking about right now, which I think is an interesting concept, but it's taking maybe a habit that you already do and then following that habit with a new habit that you're trying to make to improve. And so then you can kind of, every time you do this neutral habit, you're doing a positive habit after, and then it just becomes natural to do these things over time. Our Tiny Acre says that's you with beets. You hated them, and now you're okay with them because the doctors told you had to eat them. Yeah, and you develop a taste for them, and it may never be that you say that it's your favorite food, but the same thing with rice too. I used to not eat rice. I eat a ton of rice now. I mean, just a ridiculous amount of rice in comparison. I I cannot actually comprehend the amount of rice I eat now versus how I literally would wouldn't even try, and everybody thought I was crazy, and they were right. I was. The Atomic Habits, the big things I picked up were the cue, craving, response, reward, and he talks about pointing, that there's a technique that they use in Japan with running their rail system where when any action is done, they point at the thing and then they call it out. So like when they close the doors, they point at the door and says, the door's closed. And when they hit when they get up to speed, they point at the speedometer and they read out the speed. And it's an awareness technique that also keeps you on top of things. And it was just neat listening to that story and how that works, and kind of thinking about how, the things that have improved with my diet have kind of been because I've pointed at them and I've said, hey, that needs to change, or that is good, or that's what you're supposed to be doing. And also just like the verbalizing of things, like the actions, like instead of just thinking about, I'm going to start a diet, you say you're going to start the diet, you give it a date, you give it a time, you give it a possibility, and you vocalize those things. So you're going to say, I'm going to eat a whole food plant-based diet for the rest of my life, or you can set shorter term goals for other things, but I'm going to go to the gym on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 a.m. for an hour. And I'm going, and solving all the problems to make that happen. In order to do that, I'm going to wake up at 5:30. I'm going to get dressed. I'm going to, and take the time to visualize and vocalize your intentions. And it helps improve the success with keeping those habits. And so I'm going to continue to read the book. And like I said, I do enjoy it. And there's other people he references, and there was some other people that you guys had mentioned that have written some books similar to this that are very good as well. So I like the book a lot. Hey, Anthony, checking in, saying hello. We're just finishing up talking about the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. I do recommend checking it out so far. And it's great for all aspects of whatever you're trying to improve. Just taking the time to do them. It really, it's putting it into practice and doing it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So, I'm trying to think of anything else. I've kind of talked a lot about the swelling in my legs. That's gone down a lot, very much. I'm back to having a ton of loose skin around my ankles, which is weird. I was kind of showing it to Carrie today. It's just odd having that loose skin around my lower legs, especially with like my calf muscles are kind of large, or they're big, because I was carrying around 500 pounds for years. And it's kind of this weird like mixture of muscle and loose skin that it's kind of odd. But that's nice that's going down. That my sock doesn't really cause any issues with with leaving a mark or anything, like it had been there for a little bit. And yeah, things have been going good. I plan on being live most days this week. I don't think I have anything that's going to get in the way of doing that. I'm looking forward to the weigh-in on Wednesday. I think it's going to be a good weigh-in. I'm still frustrated that I'm losing the same 20 pounds over and over again. I'm not going to be super excited till I'm well into the 290s and getting down into the 200s and actually seeing some real positive weight loss. But the last 2 weeks getting kind of that excess weight that I put on over the few weeks prior to that is going to be nice, and it'll start being good to chip away in the right direction, or continue to chip away in the right direction. Thanks to everybody who has been following along and is in the chat here. I also appreciate everybody that participates in the Discord as well. There's been some videos shared. I shared some photos of food, I think, this weekend on the Discord, trying to do some more there. So I appreciate everybody that is participating there. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Also, make sure you click on that bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. Yeah, listen to this habits book. It's tough to get things going, but I definitely recommend you guys get your diet started right now. There's no reason to wait. Get started now, and nobody ever gets to their goals and looks back and wishes they would have waited. So get started, guys. And I'll be back tomorrow. See you later.